Hello, everybody, and I wanted to just do a little preview of a spreadsheet that I'm working on. One of the questions that I always ask when I look at my stocks is, what is the best stock to buy? Because they're all so great. I select stocks that are typically a threshold of more than 30%. Um, they all have so much going for them, but I am kind of working on an Excel tool which would give me an idea of what is the best stock to buy at any point in time. And so the idea would be to fill this spreadsheet and have 2 dozens of stocks and kind of compare them on key growth metrics that I think are important to my investment style and to the channel. And so this is I feel bad because this is very primitive, but this is a very primitive spreadsheet that I've worked on over the past hour, just for fun and getting some of the numbers of what it would look like if I were to compare companies. And these are all companies that I've covered on the channel, aside from HIMS, but I'll be releasing a video on HIMS on Tuesday. Uh, but this is essentially what I get is, for example, you have a price to forward sales. So I think using forward sales makes tons of sense when you're dealing with a growth company. Trailing sales don't make as much sense because it's better for flat companies. But if a company is growing fast, you want to look at forward sales. And these are some of the companies that I've analyzed, and you can see that on price to forward sales, Tesla is actually pretty inexpensive, and so is Mercado Libre. But the cheapest is HIMS. HIMS, when I did the analysis, was actually extremely impressive. And price to sales makes a lot of sense for growth stocks. But the other measure that makes a lot of sense also for growth stocks is that even though we are not optimized for operating margins and not optimized for earnings, if they have 5 quarters of sales under their belt, they should at least be somewhat optimized for gross margin. So it makes sense to use this less known metric called the price to gross profit, or price to gross margin profit. And of course, I want to use it as a forward indicator as well here, because obviously companies growing so fast, so you have to predict for each quarter what that would be, what those sales would be, and then work back the gross profit, and then calculate a price to gross profit. And when I do that for Tesla, for example, well, Tesla is somewhat expensive, but not nearly as expensive. Well, Snowflake is even more expensive at a 20. Um, and companies like Datadog, CrowdStrike, and Zscaler are at about a 12 here. And then I played a little bit with data to kind of come with an equivalent of my own version of a PEG ratio, but for companies that are not necessarily profitable just yet. And so I've put together this idea of a metric called the forward gross profit to growth price paid ratio. So the idea behind this metric would be, how much are you paying for each percentage point of sales? How much are you paying for each of those? And when I look at that, I find very interesting data where Tesla is actually middle of the road. Palantir is you're paying up for that growth. Palantir is very expensive for every single percent of growth. And HIMS, once again, is so inexpensive for that growth that you're paying up. What I find very interesting is that in terms of valuation, Snowflake is clearly still the darling of Wall Street, still the most expensive company of all the companies that I've analyzed. Tesla is fairly expensive too, but I mean, there's good reasons as to why Tesla would be fairly expensive. And you can make an argument that it's pretty cheap compared to where Tesla has traded in the past. And what I find very interesting is that Datadog, CrowdStrike, and Zscaler on my metrics here are oddly similar. They're all trading within a range. So Anyways, this is a work in progress. It's probably going to take me many months to try to work out what kind of metric I want to use. But I obviously want to add value to this channel. So the metrics, I want them to be my own, because otherwise, one can just go on Seeking Alpha and get their metrics. I think there's a lot of value to using and testing and back testing my channel's own metric. And so I'm going up as I go with metrics. But just to give you a quick preview, it seems like HIMS is a wonderful buy, followed by Mercado Libre, and then you would have all of the security slash dashboard stocks, so Datadog, CrowdStrike, and Zscaler, kind of a middle of the road valuation. Then Tesla, a little higher valuation, and then Snowflake, really, really highly valued. And Palantir, perhaps, and I'm sorry to say, because a lot of people follow Palantir, but Palantir is perhaps the least priced or the least attractive stock from all of the stocks that I've covered from the channel. So thank you so much for watching. This is like a draft, an absolute draft. But again, I thought it would be interesting to find a way to rank growth stocks and to find out which is the best growth stock at any point in time. What are the top 10 best growth stocks at any point in time? It's typically a qualitative process that I've followed, but I would love to have more quantitative process where I could publish. So if you have any feedback, any thoughts about this, I really appreciate it. And sorry for a really rough video, but that's just the way it is. None of this is investment advice ever. This is just entertainment. Thank you so much for watching and have a great evening. Thank you.